The power of the Word. The power of the Word. We all know how powerful our words are, right?
Yeah.
Anything that we say with gumption, with the power of life, with vigor and vitality and consistency, manifests in our lives. I love the song that you guys sang. Say something nice. Speak words of compassion and love and kindness. We have a choice. And it's really so simple. It's so simple. You know, the nanosecond that you decide you're going to comment on something somebody's doing, take a breath and decide, first off, do I really need to say it? Second, is it kind? Is it considerate? Is it helpful? And is it true? Think about those things before you say it. Because we can change the world we live in right at this moment with our words. By changing ourselves. We've been on this journey now. We're in week 9. And this entire journey has been about manifesting in our lives the people we want to be. You know, we call it a prosperity series, and we talk about all these prosperity, all these wonderful things that happen when we become prosperous and abundant. But the truth of the matter is, that happens when we become the best Christ that we can be. And that's what this whole journey has been about for the last 9 weeks. How many of you are feeling more prosperous and abundant over the last few weeks? Okay, awesome. How many of you are recognizing a change in what you notice, what you do and what you say, and how you behave and act? Anybody noticing a difference, a change? I have to tell you, I'm noticing a big change in what I'm paying attention to. And you know, I would have told you, and rightfully so, that I was paying really good attention before. Because I was paying really good attention before. But there's something different about me today. There's something different about me today that wasn't there 2 months ago. Something deeper, something more present, something more alive. And I feel more abundant and more prosperous than I even did before. And before, I told you I was already the most prosperous person on the planet. So I'm hoping that you guys have been coming along on this journey with me, and that you've been practicing some of the principles and some of the actions that we've been talking about every week. Looking at what you're doing, what you're saying, what you're telling yourself, and where those ideas came from. Who told me the first time that I wasn't worthy, that I wasn't enough? Well, I got that one. I know exactly who that is. I can say no. No, not true. Isn't true. I'm a living, loving expression of God. I'm a child of God. I am absolutely worthy. As are each and every one of you. And we have that invisible power within us to change the world. We really do. I'm recognizing it more today than ever. How many of you woke up this morning and meditated for a few moments on your future? Awesome. woke up today and made a commitment to be mindful and present in your day today, to only put forward kindness and love, good energy. See yourself being abundantly happy today. It doesn't take a lot. What it takes is remembering to do it. Because if we do it, it will be so. If we say it, it will be so. I have to tell you, Zach did a great job in that meditation today. He gave us, he was talking about it. Absolutely. He gave us lots of descriptive words. And I was right there with him. Right there with him. Right there with him. It was beautiful. I felt the chill. I was fanning myself and then I could stop. I was like, I had to smile. I was like, I felt the chill come across me and then I felt the sun on my face. How many of you have that experience too? Yeah. If we say it, it will be so. If we make a decision to be the best us we can be, it will be so. Say the word. What keeps you from saying the word? Do you forget that you have that power? Do you wake up in the morning and the dog scratching at the door and the text ding 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 is going off and everything else is happening, the babies are crying and we forget to say the word. But that is our power. That's the Christ in us is that invisible power that we've been talking about for the last several weeks. The Christ in you, your hope of glory. The Christ in you, your hope of glory. I want to read John. I got a little Matthew happening, I do. You just have to wait. No, I'm just teasing. And starting with John 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing was made that has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. In the beginning was the Word. We metaphysically interpret the Word to be that Christ. The creative activity of God in our life, the Word. The Word, or the creative aspect, the creative faculty, the part in us that can take our desire, add it with substance, and create something, is the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So that creative power within us is God. That Christ in part, I'm talking like we're separate. The true goal is to know that every part of this being is that Christ himself. That's the goal. And he was with God, or that creative part of us was with God was created. We have created everything through God. In our creative essence is life, and that life was the light of all mankind. And darkness has absolutely no power over that light. You know, every week we say that there's only one power in the universe and in our lives, God the good, omnipotent, right? Everywhere present, all-knowing. Darkness has no power over the light that we have inside us, the light that we can be and express. No darkness has power over that. The only truly sustainable power in our life is God. We may see darkness. We may even experience darkness. We may walk through a darkness of our consciousness for a period of time, but never is that light overcome by the darkness. Ever. There's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. There's always going to be another level of consciousness for us to get to, no matter how low we feel we are. I know a lot of you have had really deep grief and sadness. It's part of our human experience. But that grief and sadness doesn't have power over our Christ itself. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Jesus demonstrated this for us all. And when people read that scripture, a lot of times what they talk about is that Jesus is the only begotten Son of God. That Jesus is the only one with those special powers and that great gift inside. But what we know is that Jesus came to us as an example of how to create flesh from the Word. The end of that section in John says, and the Word became flesh. Now, if you can imagine, in that time that you're sitting in that beautiful park and you're feeling all of that wonderful fall and you're in that beautiful space, happy, whole, healthy, and complete, you are with God. You are that child of God. And at that moment, there's no pain. At that moment, every molecule of your body is connecting to spirit. And we can walk through our day, every day, in that same state of consciousness. We can make a conscious decision to step through our lives every day without the complaining, without the doubt, without the fear. We can walk through our day, every day, in that consciousness. And when we do that, then the Word has become flesh. And it occurred to me this week that that is the goal. So I was at the regional this past week, Southeast Regional Unity Conference. It was wonderful. Thank you all Wednesday night for having such a good time with Dee. Dee, thank you so much for teaching my class on Wednesday night. And I know from comments that I've heard that people really did have an opportunity to go deep and to get to know themselves just a little bit better on Wednesday. So thank you so much for that. And while I was there, we were talking about what's important to us. And integrity seems to be my word. Integrity. And they gave us a couple of definitions. The first one I think is interesting, the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles, moral uprightness. And I thought, well, of course, the quality of being honest, if you're integral, then you're going to be honest, right? Now, the strong moral principles and moral uprightness, the only reason I waver on that is because that's really a subjective thing, I think. And so many people have different ideas of what the word moral means, so I kind of slide right over that one, right? But then the second definition I found very interesting, resonated with me greatly. The state of being whole and undivided. That state of not being separate from your Christ itself. That whole idea of being wholly complete in God. When you're still divided, you have to choose your words carefully. Because there's still a part of you that may want to lash out. Or a part of you that wants to respond in fear. Or just part of you, if you're like me, that thinks you know everything about everything and you must tell everybody. You can change your mind and express a different consciousness at any moment. You have that power. Knowing that when you speak with power, life, vigor, and passion, you will manifest it in your life, whether you want it or not. So I came up with a few things that I thought were important for integrity and the word. Speak with love, kindness, and compassion. You know, we're taught that really young. What's Thumper say? If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all, right? You know, we all kind of giggle and he says it really funny, but what a simple rule in our life. You know, and growing up, I did really suffer a whole lot from know-it-allism. No comments from the peanut gallery. And I would easily say, yeah, but they needed to know that. They needed to know that. They needed to know that they were doing that wrong, and they needed to know a better way to do it, or I was just trying to help. No, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. That's a really, really simple rule. Say what you mean, and mean what you say. Isn't there a song? One thing leads to another, something like that. Say what you mean and mean what you say, and then do what you say you're going to do. They all sound so simple, so why do we have difficulty with them sometimes? Fear, right? That's it. And we forget that we have that inside ourselves, that we are given dominion over everything on the planet. We're given dominion over not only ourselves, but everything on the planet. All the furry things, all the flying things, all the growing things. We're given dominion over it all, which gives us responsibility to take care of them all. Not to exploit them and use them up, but to take care of them and respect them. So I know that this is a topic we've talked about many times. And I'm like, well, how am I going to talk to them about the word again? Actually, every Sunday I'm wondering, you know, ministers have to come up with 52 ways to say the exact same thing every year. Because the message is the same every Sunday. It all boils down to the same thing. Be your best, God's self. Be your best. You have everything you need to be that person. Live life with eagerness and fun and excitement. Exercise your brain every day. Teach it something new every day. Do something that scares you every day. As you do that, you will raise yourself to a higher consciousness. You will automatically be growing into that whole and complete God consciousness. The Word will become flesh. It says, while you were still divided, work at it. Make a commitment to yourself to become the best you can be. Once whole and undivided, you will be a person of integrity, and the Word will become flesh. The Christ in you truly is your hope of glory.